Chapter 2, Windy and Wet. Whether you call it a typhoon, a cyclone, or a hurricane, you're talking about the same thing: a swirling tropical storm that forms over the ocean. When it makes landfall, a hurricane can wreak havoc. It carries high winds and heavy rain and creates huge waves that cause coastal flooding. A hurricane is longer lasting than much larger than a tornado, and much larger than a tornado. After forming in the open ocean, most hurricanes become stronger as they move slowly toward land. Hundreds and thousands of people evacuated eastern China because of Typhoon Fito. How hurricanes form. The recipe for a hurricane is simple: warm water, moist air, and wind. Hurricanes typically form near the equator, where the ocean water is warmest. The water heats the air above it. The air rises, cooler air rushes in to replace it, and then warms and rises. Winds push the air around, and the storm grows. A hurricane is like an engine fueled by warm, moist air. It can grow as long as it's over warm water. Hurricanes north of the equator spin counterclockwise. Those to the south spin clockwise. A giant storm. At the hurricane center is the eye. The air there is calm and clear. Outside the eye, wind speeds may reach more than 150 miles per hour. Hurricanes can grow to be hundreds of miles across. In 1999, a giant hurricane named Floyd hit the eastern United States. Floyd's effects were felt from the Bahamas all the way to New England. Clouds spin around the eye of Hurricane Dean, which formed in the Atlantic Ocean in 2007. Heavy rain and storm surge. Hurricane clouds can dump many inches of rain in less than a day. What's more, the spiraling winds gather ocean water into a large mound at the center of the storm. This mound is called a storm surge. When the hurricane reaches land, the storm surge is pushed onto the coastline. A storm surge can flood low-lying coastal areas. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy brought a 32-foot storm surge that roared into New York Harbor. Hurricane Sandy caused a section of a boardwalk amusement park in Seaside Heights, New Jersey to wash away. Death of a hurricane. When a hurricane reaches land, it's usually bad news for people living along the coastline, but it is also the beginning of the end of the storm. Hurricanes need a constant supply of warm, wet air to survive. When they reach land or colder ocean water, they stop growing. And when hurricane force winds encounter land formations such as hills and mountains, they slow down. Soon the hurricane dies out. People experience high winds as Hurricane Sandy approaches the Massachusetts coast. The big truth: Hurricane Katrina. On August 23, 2005, a storm began to form near the islands of the Bahamas. As it moved northwest, the storm grew into a powerful hurricane that meteorologists named Katrina. The hurricane dumped many inches of rain in Florida before continuing into the Gulf of Mexico. Over warm ocean water again, the hurricane intensified. When it hit Louisiana, Katrina was 400 miles across. Its winds moved up to 140 miles per hour. Hurricane Katrina did damage throughout the southeast. New Orleans, Louisiana was especially hard hit. New Orleans is surrounded by water. Much of the land is below sea level. Engineers had built levees and seawalls to protect the city, but the rain and storm surge overwhelmed them. The storm surge reached 30 feet high. Thousands of homes and buildings were destroyed. Nearly 2,000 people lost their lives. All right, my friends, we are now done with chapter 2. You guys are going to continue on with near